If the idea of another pandemic seems familiar to you and potentially real, that's because some significant global figures keep talking about the next pandemic, the next pandemic. Like almost it's going to be war, pandemic, war, pandemic, war, pandemic. So in the end, just, all right, I'll just stay in the house and shut up. It's not up to you. We've already decided that you are staying in the house and shutting up. What? What did we tell you?
We need to be prepared for the next pandemic.
When the next pandemic comes knocking, and it will,
well, if it knocks, just don't answer the door.
We must be ready to answer decisively.
We do need more money.
Oh, God, more?
But we don't just need more money for vaccines for children eventually.
What? Oh, that doesn't even work. What are you doing all this money?
We need more money to plan for the second pandemic. There's going to be another pandemic.
Another pandemic? You've only just stopped playing with the last one.
That's why we need the money.
We will be much better off.
Yeah, you will be.
The next pandemic.
I know. I've seen the checks.
When it occurs.
Okay, so they all seem pretty confident there's going to be another pandemic. I wonder why. Could it be they know something we don't? Almost certainly. Let me know in the chat. But also, the scientists involved in the Wuhan lab leak are doing more experiments that are a bit like that, even though really the last time they did it, it probably caused this pandemic. More and more of us accept that as the reality now. Let me know on the chat if you're still entertaining the idea that it came from a wet market, disgusting though they may sound. So let's get into this story with a little more detail. And later, and you'll love this, we're talking about how Anthony Fauci, unbelievably, the fella that's meant to be coordinating to a degree the global response to the pandemic, was involved in covering up some pretty important facts. Scientists linked to Wuhan bat researchers have been accused of performing dangerous experiments on a MERS-like virus that could spark a pandemic. Well, they should certainly interrogate and investigate that possibility to see if there's any truth in that. A team from the University of North Carolina published a paper in Science Advances detailing how they'd synthesized a MERS-like bat virus and used it to infect human cells and humanized mice. I never feel that good, do you, when I hear the phrase humanized mice? I never think this research is in the right hands. I'm going to just start routinely now, outside laboratories, going, have you got mice in there? We certainly do. What business is it of yours? Well, here's my next question. Are they humanized? No, they're not humanized. Can I get some cheese? What was that? Nothing. I sneezed. I sneezed like that. Let us out of here. There's only 8 of us. How can this be a thorough clinical trial? Listen, I've got to go. I've got normal mice to go and deal with in there. They're not humanized. MERS is one of the deadliest viruses, killing around 35% of people that it infects. Oh, no. I mean, one of the small mercies of the last pandemic is that it, overall didn't kill that many people. Well, there seems to be some confusion around exactly how many people it killed because of grammar and potentially an agenda. The team includes Professor Ralph Barrick and Trevor Scobie, who worked with Professor Shi Zhengli of the Wuhan Institute of Virology before the pandemic, creating chimeric viruses by inserting spike proteins from bat viruses into the original SARS virus. I don't want to sound like a Luddite, and I know that so many important things have been achieved as a result of biochemical endeavour, biological ingenuity, chemistry, science more broadly. What a wonderful discipline it is, and you will know from my conversation with Dr. Jay Bhattacharya from Stanford University that I admire, adore and revere genuine scientists. And one of the conditions I would say for being considered a genuine scientist, a subset of at least an endeavour to accrue profit rather than heal and help people, problems emerge. And when there's an agenda that goes even beyond that, I think we're at even greater risk. Let me know in the chat if you agree. 35%. That seems like a lot. That's like you really don't want to get that one. I'll wear a mask for that one. The new experiment used a reverse genetics technique to create a MERS-like bat virus called BTCOV422, which was collected by Shi Zhengli's team in China in 2019. The scientists said they'd performed the latest study to test whether antivirals would work against an infection, but experts warned the experiments were needlessly risky for little gain. Needlessly risky. My God, these risks! You don't even need to take them. What's the potential gain, though? Very little. So what the hell are you doing? Can I get my cheese now? Listen, just could you get out of my lab? Open some windows on the way out. Can we talk a little more, Matt, about Fauci's role in censoring the potential origins of the last pandemic? And I suppose significantly that CIA whistleblower and like Fauci's agency tour to shut down investigation.
Yeah, so this is a story that it grew out of the Twitter files a little bit. Because a lot of the focus of the Twitter files was about suppression of COVID-related topics, a number of people came forward, and Michael Schellenberger and I, about 6 months ago, we started to hear about a whistleblower in the CIA who was coming forward with a story that Anthony Fauci had, at least on a couple of occasions, come to the CIA's Weapons and Counter-Proliferation Center. I forget exactly what the acronym is, but it was what they were using to study the origins of COVID, and gave a presentation pushing the idea of zoonotic origin on the CIA analysts. Later on, some 6 of the 7 analysts at the CIA who were leaning towards lab origin changed their minds before the issuance of a final report. They were given financial incentives by the agency to do that. There are a number of other stories that came out as a result of all this, but he also went to the State Department and the White House, was pushing this proximal origins of SARS-CoV-2 paper that we also had reported on, that he was heavily involved with drafting, probably never disclosed it to any of those agencies. So it looks like a pretty sophisticated, energetic campaign to go through the intelligence agencies and executive branch agencies and try to convince them to not look at the lab origin theory.
Stay free. See it first on Rumble.